Hey, Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Spiritual Grocery 641 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole here for buying my friend vanilla shampoo? A curious title indeed. It starts off, my girlfriend uses a few different types of shampoo and alternates between them. One of them, a vanilla scented one, is my favorite. She asked me to pick some things up for her at the store. And on my way to checkout, I saw the vanilla shampoo and grabbed that too. When I got back to her apartment, she started putting away the things I bought. She was confused by the shampoo and asked me why I got it. I said that I saw it and know that she uses that kind and grabbed it for her. She said she wasn't running low on shampoo. I said I know, but it doesn't expire and that one is my favorite. I teasingly said that she should use it if she's planning to wash her hair tonight. She asked what I meant by it being my favorite. I said I like the way it makes her hair smell, like cookies. She looked a little weirded out. I asked her if she was okay. She said it was weird that I sexualized her shampoo. I said smelling nice is sexy. I asked if she thinks I'm sexier when I use nice smelling soaps and deodorants. She said not really, as long as I don't actively smell bad. I said maybe it's different for everyone. She said honestly it bothered her that something as mundane as shampoo was sexual to me. She asked me if someone else smelled like vanilla, would I be attracted to them? I said no, that she was misunderstanding me. She asked me to clarify, but I don't think I did a good job. I said I specifically liked the smell on her, not other people. She still seemed put out, so I headed home to give her space. Was I an arsehole for buying the shampoo and telling her I like when she uses it? To me, that's not weird, but maybe that's because I'm a guy. Is there a layer to this that I'm not seeing? For me on this, I thought it was a really thoughtful thing to do. You saw the shampoo that she uses, she likes, you like the smell of it, so you bought it for her. You like how it smells on her. I mean, that feels completely normal to me. There's a shampoo that I like and it smells like caramel and it's absolutely amazing. People have scent preferences, and I think saying you smell nice to your partner is one of the most basic, non-threatening compliments in existence, basically. And the fact that she jumped straight to sexualization over vanilla shampoo is pretty wild to me. And I'm wondering, what is the reason behind this? Has she had an experience before that's led her to this, or worried about control or something along those lines? Really curious how this one's going to go. Fit Particular says, I would have thought that it was sexy and cute. You're not the arsehole at all. The most romantic thing my husband did for me was buy me a personal pizza with olives on it because I told him I like it, but hadn't ordered one in years because I just eat what everyone else likes and they don't like olives. We were talking about something else and I just casually mentioned it on an aside. 3 weeks later I came home and it was sitting on our kitchen island with a heart drawn on the box. It wasn't the pizza. It was confirmation that he was listening to me and not just paying attention to his phone. Being attentive is important. Opie says, I thought I was being sexy and cute too. She's my first real relationship, so I acknowledge that I'm inexperienced here. But I thought it was a very innocent way to flirt. It's not like I bought her underwear. Corlat says, you really got an unusual one here. Tricky Operation says, not the arsehole. What on earth? You did something nice. She should have said thank you. My husband comments if he likes my perfume. She presumably buys the vanilla scented shampoo because she also likes the smell. Making it out like you're some weird freak for also liking the smell is wild. It's like she was looking for something to fight about. Interesting. Opie says yeah. I don't get it. Liking certain smells is normal, right? Isn't that the point of scented things? And perfume. It's not a creepy thing to like. PSI Blaze says, I had a partner who specifically loved when I used green tea scented products. Knowing that was a boost for me, and even though we're not together now, I still feel a boost with that scent. Southern Fun says, she needs to take a deep breath and relax. As a woman myself, if my boyfriend bought me shampoo he knows I use and he likes the smell of it, I'd be so flattered and touched, especially if he said the smell is sexy on me. She sounds insecure. Opie says thank you. This makes me feel better. I was doubting myself, thinking maybe it's inappropriate. Commenter says, I would love my husband to notice what shampoo I use and make sure I have enough. I want to smell nice for him, and him caring for me is sexy as fuck. Rude Letterhead says, your girlfriend certainly is for making it weird. And one more commenter from Coral who says, some people are desperate to find red flags that they end up becoming one. So Opie does come in with that update and says, so yesterday my girlfriend didn't like it that I took it upon myself to buy her vanilla shampoo when I was picking some things up for her at the store. We met up at her apartment again this morning for breakfast, and I asked if we could talk about our boundaries and expectations, because I never want to make her feel uncomfortable. She agreed that we should talk. She said that when she visited her family over winter break, she had time to think about our relationship and talk to her parents and sister about me. She said that space and perspective made her realize some things. The first thing she realized is that she isn't happy that we always meet at her apartment. I said I completely understand that, and she's welcome to come hang out at mine. When we first started dating, she didn't want to visit my apartment often because of my 4 roommates. But things change and I get that. She still doesn't want to hang out at my apartment because of my 4 roommates though. She said that my living situation is too crowded and it bothers her. I asked if she wanted me to move, and she said she would like it if I made a commitment to finding a new living situation by the next semester. Since the next semester is a long way off, this isn't unreasonable, but I was hesitant. I really like my living situation. My friends and I help each other out a lot. I don't necessarily want to live alone, and it is expensive. She can afford to live alone, but I don't necessarily think I could. I explained that I didn't think I could afford it. She suggested I ask my parents for money, which isn't an option. She also pointed out that I have a part-time job, but that doesn't make me enough money to pay for my own apartment. I asked if me spending too much time at her apartment is the only issue, because I felt like there was more to the shampoo thing. She said yes, that she didn't like that. She said she didn't like the idea that I'm constantly thinking about having sex with her, and that it made her feel disrespected. I said I'm not constantly thinking about having sex with her. I told her it's more that I really like her and sometimes she does things and I think they are sexy. That doesn't mean I necessarily want to have sex at that moment. It's just my internal monologue going, that was sexy. That wasn't the right way to explain it. She didn't seem to understand where I was coming from. She asked me what was going through my head when I was at the store and if I was thinking about having sex with her. I said I was thinking about the store, the items I needed to buy, inflation, etc. And then I saw the shampoo and I thought about how she uses it and it makes her hair smell amazing and I bought it. She asked if I specifically thought about the way her hair smelled the last time we had sex, and I said yes. But it wasn't like I had a full sex fantasy in the store. It was a momentary thought. She said that isn't normal, and I might have Tourette's or ADHD or OCD or some other condition that causes intrusive thoughts. I'm really glad I made the last post because I was worried about what she said. But then I remembered all the commentators that mentioned also feeling the same way about scents. I told her I posted about our conversation in an anonymous online forum and several people feel the same way I do about smell. I said I think it's normal to feel that way about scents, but maybe it isn't ubiquitous. She said it isn't normal and I might want to talk to a doctor about potentially having hypersexuality. Between her not liking my living situation and her not liking that I'm attracted to her smell, which is probably my fault because I wasn't doing a good job of explaining things, I realized we just weren't compatible. I told her I thought maybe we had different needs for a relationship and maybe would be better as friends. She said she was disappointed in me, but that she agreed. We hugged it out. I'm a little bummed, but we were only dating for 4 months. Thanks for being my normality barometer, since I didn't have one for relationships yet. Commodore says, scent is the sense that is directly linked to memory and emotion, much more so than our other senses, so your reaction was perfectly normal. It's pretty fucked up she tried to turn a very human response into you having a medical condition. I hope you see that and don't let it affect your self-worth. You deserve much better. Opie says thank you. I was anxious about it, but then I thought of all the people who told me that they also feel that way about smell, so I'm not going to dwell on it. School Spirit UK says you did the right thing. She clearly has issues. Hypersexuality indeed. You just dodged a long-term bullet. Hopefully your next girlfriend will be saner. Opie says, well, it's a new semester, so we'll have the chance to meet a lot of new people and hopefully click with someone nice. I can't help but cast my mind back to one of the comments after the initial post saying maybe she just wanted an out but didn't want to be the bad guy in this situation, especially the way she was so agreeable to it at the end that she turned it on you and said, oh, she's disappointed in you, but hugged it out and agreed. And definitely don't let what she said get you. The Tourette's, ADHD, OCD, hypersexuality, the thinking what vanilla shampoo smells nice. What a bloody Burke. It sounds like OP knows that they've dodged a bullet in this situation, and thank goodness it was at 4 months instead of like 4 years or something. And he handled it really well, stayed calm, explained himself reasonably when she was doubling down. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is a story that's been around since July, but has come in with a final update. So if you want to use the timestamps, please feel free to do so. It's from Nice Silver 1038 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, saying my fiance is demanding I stop making home-cooked meals for a friend. I, 27 male, am very passionate about cooking. I'm not a professional chef by any means, but it's one of my favorite hobbies. I love the act of creating food, but sharing it is what's really special to me. Whether it's something I've made or a nice meal at a restaurant. My girlfriend, 27 female, is pretty picky. She won't even touch a majority of the things I cook or split most meals at restaurants, and that's fine. It's the way she's been reacting to other people enjoying my food that bothers me. A good friend of mine, Jace, 34 male, is a truck driver. I don't get to see him as often as I would like, but when he comes home I always make it a point to feed him well. It's fun for me to plan. It's also really fulfilling in a way. It makes me feel this sense of warmth, making something for him. I know that being on the road so much can be tough, so when he's here I want him to feel grounded and at peace. Basically, I'm giving this man all the comfort food. Jace is always so appreciative, and he makes jokes about coming home to his wife. He should be back home in just a few days, and I mentioned to my fiance that I had a whole menu planned. She got upset and basically told me that she didn't like how I went above and beyond for him. I've held my ground and said it's important to me, but her comments have started feeling a little less aimed at her own discomfort and more so just derogatory towards me. Am I the arsehole here for wanting to keep cooking for him? So a couple of the comments on this one said, this sounds less about the food and more about the effort and thought you put into this friendship, perhaps making her question if you're prioritizing her in a similar way. Is there something non-food related you put this much energy into doing for your girlfriend? Planning dates, romantic evenings, things you know she likes. I know you enjoy making food for others, but have you taken the time to learn how your girlfriend feels most loved and appreciated, and then facilitated that for her? Do you have the same level of energy for helping your girlfriend feel grounded and at peace when she's had a rough day at work or in general? Fitzer says it's probably not so much the food. It sounds like your girlfriend feels threatened by your relationship with the truck driver. The Turtle Cub says, to be honest, I kind of want to meet this truck driver after that write-up. Kofi says he is very offline, or I'd get him to virtually introduce himself. He listens to a lot of YouTube when he's driving, but that's the extent of his social media use. It's enviable and makes me cut down on my doom scrolling. Trying to explain memes to him is humbling, lol. Max Perception says, bro, you should dump your annoying girlfriend for this truck driver. And OP was voted you're the arsehole on that post in the end, but they came in with their first update, which came 6 days later and said, my girlfriend and I are currently on a break. I don't think I consciously realized it, but some part of me must have known how close we were to breaking point. Otherwise, I don't think I would have written or posted my original question. I was making chicken breast for Jace on Friday. Whenever he gets back from a job, he'll go home and crash for a few hours. I like to time things so his meal is hot and ready when he wakes up. I'd left the kitchen while it was cooking, and the oven was off when I came back. I asked my fiance if she had done it, and she said yes. This resulted in easily the worst fight we've had. I ended up asking for the engagement ring back. This goes beyond me feeling unappreciated. This is her actively undermining something I'm passionate about. It feels like contempt. This is supposed to be a temporary break, but I really don't feel any sadness over not having seen or talked to her the past few days. I don't know where to go from here. A very big part of me just wants it to be done. Lisa Knows Best says to this, drop from being referred to as fiancé to just girlfriend in 7 days. Not a good sign. Devil Guy says, it's the art room all over again. Mindless says, I think the issue isn't that she doesn't appreciate your cooking. I think your girlfriend believes you have a relationship with your truck driver friend. The way you describe how you feel cooking for him is something on a different level of just cooking for a friend. So, the latest and final update came 6 months later, and it said just wanted to drop some final reflections as we enter the new year. Thankfully, I'm in a totally different place now that I was just midway through 2025. Leaving my previous relationship was one of the best decisions I've ever made. No longer being with someone who actively disliked my personality at best and had contempt for me at worst feels like a weight lifted off of my shoulders. The holidays were always difficult since I loved cooking for my family, and my ex would constantly complain that it wasn't something she would eat. This year was peaceful. The company Jace works for tries to get all their men home by Christmas. He then used the PTO he saved up to stay home through the new year. I got 2 very happy Christmases with my family and his. I got to spend time with his mother again, who I adore. Then we had a pretty quiet New Year's Eve together. It feels good to have my self-esteem back, to not be with someone who tears me down. Truthfully, that relationship just felt like character development to get here, to a much happier and calmer 2026. I appreciate the people who gave me genuine advice and didn't try to paint my past actions as malicious, since they never were. And one commenter says, congratulations on a stressless, festive vacation. It's always better to be with people who appreciate you than being in a hostile relationship with someone who would rather criticize and sabotage you than cheer you on. But now I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, this next story was cross-posted on our own subreddit r/Mark Narrations, coming from the Ask Parents subreddit. It was a story from a while back, but it looks like an update that we may have missed. It says a 2025 update. Emotionally Damaged posted this, by the way, so thank you for sharing that. The original post was 5 years back, but then it had a 2025 update, so I'm guessing it's around 2020, 2021, the first part. It said, my male 25 girlfriend, female 24, wants to break up with me because I can do the splits. Pretty much what the title says. Fiancé works a full-time job, COVID delayed wedding, and does yoga on the side. She's certified and teaches a few people in a local gym too, and she also has a separate Instagram account for yoga too. I used to do gymnastics back in 9th grade before stopping due to an injury, but I still keep some of the exercises that I had in my current workouts, and I also study aerial straps at a local place that teaches them. Why is this important? Because my fiancé got offended when she learned that I could do the splits, and she called me a liar for not telling her about my gymnastics background. When in reality, I did tell her, and we were friends before we started dating back around 9th grade. And 9th grade was a very long time ago, and she just forgot that I used to do gymnastics and called me a liar. I'm about to be 26, and here is why the splits came up. Aside from her Instagram, she also has a YouTube that she's trying to grow, and she wanted to do a splits video where she would ignore the more advanced / yoga versions, while I, the inflexible boyfriend as she put it, would do the basic non-yogi normal person's easier / basic versions of the stretches for more inflexible persons. But this is where she got offended. When she asked me to try some of the stretches, I was more flexible than she remembered, and like her, I was also able to do the splits. And then she got upset and huffy and called me a liar for not telling her about my background in gymnastics, when I did years ago, back in 9th grade. Again, I'm about to be 26, but I digress. She became so offended that her mood was ruined, and she became quiet and said that she changed her mind about the video. At the time, I felt bad and tried to lighten the mood by changing the subject, but she was ticked no matter what I did. And when I went home, I texted her that I was sorry for offending her even though I did nothing wrong. But she didn't reply and ghosted me for 4 days. And when she finally broke her silence, she said that she was sorry for not responding, but that she needed to take a break from our relationship. And this break lasted for about 3 weeks with nothing from her. No texts or calls, and I didn't break her requested no contact. Although I regretted ever showing her my splits, and the only reason I considered calling her back in my last post was because of the wedding. Whereas if the wedding didn't exist, I wouldn't call her back at all and assume the relationship was over regarding something as petty as this. However, I was afraid of her pulling some stupid stuff over the wedding payments, which was the only reason I was considering calling her at some point to make sure there was no loose ends that she could try and get nasty with later. What makes this hurt more is that I have a friend group that I consider closer than my own family. I introduced her to them when we started dating 4 years ago, and they loved her when she didn't have many friends of her own. However, during the 3 weeks that she said she needed time to think, she was gossiping to other girls in my group about how I'm keeping things from her, and about the video in that space instead. And while some of the people in my group have taken my side, I don't think my relationship with the group will ever be the same. Given some of the mixed feelings, and it really hurts a lot. It's bad enough to go through a breakup over something as stupid as this. While I know that others said that this was probably a scapegoat for other issues she had, and that she already had one foot out the door. But now I'm losing my family/friend group on top of it. The one I introduced her to, that she's now trying to destroy my reputation to. So Opie comes in about a week later with their first update and says it's been about a week. And she's kind of made the decision to break up on her own actually, and here's what I mean. She's actually went through and made a splits video on her own, and she actually threw a joke in there about how girls watching should ask their boyfriend if they can do the splits too, and are shy about their talent. And honestly, I found it kind of funny at this point just to see how petty and upset she was over this. Some of the girls in my friend group who kind of took my side said that my fiance doesn't seem to understand what yoga means and that they happen to do yoga as well. They said that she's stupid because she's certified and doesn't understand that yoga isn't a competition, but rather a personal journey, to quote them specifically. But she seems to care more about showing off impressive poses on Instagram, more than actually promoting what yoga is about, and how she's basically body shaming me, as they put it, is the opposite of what yoga stands for, in their opinion. They also had an issue with the joke that she made during the video, and specifically with how she told the girls that were watching to ask their boyfriends if they could do the splits, in an attempt to see if they were hiding it from her. They said that that came off as wrong and somewhat sexist and immature, and they also showed me some of the texts that she sent them. Stuff about how she said that I'm hiding things from her, and why was there the need to hide something as simple as that, in regards to my gymnastics background, and personally I think it's really dumb. Like, this is high school behavior, and maybe not even that because I was in high school. Some people were petty, but this is just a lot. When I text her in regards to the wedding and ask him where we stand, she didn't respond, and when I text her again another day, she didn't respond again. When I tried calling her twice on the same days, she didn't respond either, and I'm trying with the help of my parents to cancel the wedding on our side, but she and her parents are not responding. And with payments they have down, we're nervous about getting looped into something that they could hold against us, and at this point, I could care less about the ring. I asked my dad if we should go over, but he said it was a bad idea given their behavior. But we've talked to the planner who's had little communication with her family too, and that's pretty much where we are at this point. I called her a few times and my dad called her parents, but they aren't responding on numerous days. And I want to ask how to get out of the wedding at this point. The most safe way possible, with no strings that they could hold on us, or if possible to cancel it without having to see any of them again. My dad is also inquiring about how to do this on his own, but I want to ask here too, and I could care less about the ring at this point. I also want to say thanks for all the advice given out the first time, and for anyone else who decides to comment on this one. So the first commenter says to OP, honestly, even with the complication of the wedding deposits, you got lucky. Imagine having married someone like this. It's better you found out how unbelievably petty she can be before you tied the knot. All the stuff with the wedding is just cementing the fact that she could have made your life hell post-wedding. I'm sorry you wasted the past 4 years building a life with someone who's willing to throw it away over your ability to do the splits. Wishing you luck with the wedding issues. Hopefully she gains back her maturity and actually starts communicating. OP says maybe the whole COVID delay was a blessing in disguise. I'm just trying to get out of the wedding with a planner. who's somewhat getting ghosted too, without any strings they could try to pull us on later on if she gets pissed or something. I would hope to get out of the wedding without having to communicate with them at this point. Hopefully a lawyer can help, and I'll tell that to my dad too. Thanks for the recommendation. Bad enough losing her, but also some of my friend group never being the same again maybe. A group she didn't have until I introduced her, but now she's trying to turn them against me. Psycho says, dude, you dodged a big yoga doing, jealousy over stupid shit having fucking bullet. Thank her profusely for her being kind enough to give you a sneak peek of hell before the wedding. Another commenter says, honestly, it looks like all that flexibility paid off because you dodged a bullet like Neo in the Matrix. Let her take that petty juvenile shit elsewhere. OP says, just hoping she doesn't ruin my friend group too much, but the faster it's over, the better. She didn't have them before I introduced them to her, but it is what it is. But hoping some of them are still cool with me, since they're family in many ways and have helped me a lot over the years. And you would hope OP's friends would see her for what she's actually doing here, because it's absolutely wild, all this over the splits. You know, if your friends had an issue, I'd send them the link to this post and saying, this is actually what's going on right now, because, dearie me. But as we said, in 2025 March, OP added another update, which says you would not believe how many people messaged me in the aftermath of my last post. I put them off for a long time because of everything going on. But hindsight is crazy, and especially in this situation. Looking back, I realize I had nothing to apologize for. I'm disgusted that I did. I was so desperate to try and work things out that I completely lost myself in the process. I was afraid of becoming single and had these doubts pop up over never finding a forever someone. So much that I ignored red flags in other areas of our relationship that aren't worth airing. I think I've since learned to never be so desperate that you have to sell your soul for someone. The reason I'm updating is because of something one of her ex-girlfriends recently told me that surprised me. One of her ex-girlfriends, who said she was wrong about yoga and no longer talks to her, told me that my ex has a new series on a yoga Instagram/YouTube where she tries something new every video. Like Yogi tries indoor skydiving, and she tries aerial arts in one of the videos. It's a vlog where she sat in her home and talked about her experience trying Lyra, also known as aerial hoop. She would cut to clips of a sequence she learned in class and lightly recorded at the end. Many aerial studios allow students to record the sequence they learned during the last 5 minutes to remember/post it, and some of her sequences were assisted by an instructor. At my aerial studio, students are allowed to record at the end too. I still do at the end of my classes, and while she didn't bring me up specifically, she said she wanted to try aerial straps, the apparatus I told her I trained, but there was a prerequisite of aerial silks required by the studio. I can attest to certain apparatuses having some sort of prerequisite. And in all honesty, her vlog was pretty good. Her ex-friend sent me a YouTube link because I blocked her on my socials, and she said she might try more classes because she had fun. I can only hope that she brings a positive energy instead of the jealousy and insecurity she displayed with me. And if our interaction leads to her finding community, perhaps that would be a silver lining from our time together. Many people in aerial/circus come from a gymnastics or dance background, so the added body awareness and flexibility from yoga would help her if she were interested. As for me, I haven't found my soulmate yet. Lol. I dated someone briefly some years after her, but we didn't hit it off. That's life though, and I'm trying to not worry about never getting married because that's why I stayed with her for so long. Hopefully she's changed for the better after all these years, but I'm trying to focus my energy on work and continuing aerial. I've since committed more time to performing since we broke up, and I'm grateful for the aerial community I have. I'm still in the same studio where I was when we were dating, and many in my studio agreed that she was being insecure back then, to say the least. So while her video was nice, I sincerely hope she's changed for the better, because it only takes one insecure person to make an uplifting place feel toxic to others, and I can relate to feeling too depressed to practice in the immediate aftermath of our breakup. And it just sounds like for OP, like another massive bullet dodged in this situation. And it just sounded like the desperation that OP was feeling to try and, make it work was just clouding their judgment in the end. Because there's no way you should be walking on eggshells just because you can do the splits because of your own abilities. fucking wild, right? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.